All right, we are live.
Waiting for it to show on Facebook, man. Yeah. And 1 second, everyone. Welcome back. I'm going to be creating a watch party here. All right. All right, everybody. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Welcome back, guys. We took a long break, but we shot a short film, and we're working on Blade and Blood feature. We have some great news on that aspect. We have a producer, private producer, anonymous, stepping forward, who's going to match all of our fundraising for Blade and Blood. And that's amazing. The fundraiser for that's going up in another week. We're very excited about that. And we shot a short film, Moon Against the Night, with two beautiful actresses. And we have those actresses for you tonight, which is amazing. They're both very talented and brilliant people. And you're going to get a kick out of conversing with them. Who would you like to bring on first? By the way, co-host Mark Potter. Mine is having some issues, so if he keeps freezing in some really strange, funny face, that's just his new comedy routine that he's doing. And then, of course, Lola.
Hi, Lola.
And then the real star of our show. And who do you want to bring on first?
Let's bring on Brit Allen.
Okay, Brit Allen is an amazing actress. First time I've worked with her on this last short, and she did an amazing job. We look forward to conversing with her about some of her past projects and future projects coming up. Bring her on board. Hey, Brit.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. We have another guest. It's also the other co-star of The Moon Against the Night. Both of them were just absolutely brilliant. So Lauren is young, but she showed some chops way beyond most girls her age, and did a brilliant job on the short film. Let's bring her on. Let's bring on Lauren Marco. Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Well, this is amazing. You guys for at home, I hadn't shot something like a year and a half, 2 years, and we just shot my 14th short film, Moon Against the Night, and both of these ladies did an amazing job. It'll be out in a couple of weeks, and then we'll hit festivals, and I have a lot of faith that we'll bring home some nominations and awards. Now, let's get right into it. Brit, what is you've done in the last couple of years that you were really proud of, as opposed to the short you just did? Any other films you've done in the last couple of years you're really passionate about?
Actually, I've just come out of retirement. So the last thing I did was a feature-length film in 2014 called Voices Thrown Silent. So that was the last project I worked on. And I retired from the industry and then I got re-inspired and reinvigorated. Once the Me Too movement happened, I really saw that there was the possibility for the industry to really transform and make it, more workable for women. So this is my first short since coming out of retirement.
So very cool. So you did it for a career, for
Yeah. I was, I'm from Australia, obviously, and I started out as a dancer when I was younger, and then went into modeling, and from there, that's when I segued into TV hosting. Went and got some training. I trained at a conservatory school in Australia, and then acting as well.
So very cool. You did a lot of TV show host stuff?
Yeah, so I'm from Perth. That's my hometown in Australia, and I was hosting a few lifestyle shows back there. And that's really my forte. Like I really, really enjoy spokesperson roles and hosting.
Very cool. Now, Lauren, I know you're relatively new to this, but I know you've got some theater background. What have you done in the last couple of years you're really passionate about?
So the most recent project I've been a part of was I got to be in kind of the background of a feature film as a Jerusalem teen. And it was really cool to see all the behind the scenes stuff of like a feature film.
True. I mean, that's what I did for a living for 8 years in LA. I was a stand-in and background actor.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot. You learn how a film works. You learn terminology. You learn how to hurry up and wait a lot. That's an old Hollywood term, hurry up and wait. Like they'll get to set now, get to set now, we need you on set now, we need you on set now. And then you get to set, and 45 minutes later of twiddling your thumbs, then they're finally ready to actually shoot. So
JD, it is widely used in the military.
yeah, I mean, I'm not like that as a director. I think that helped me a lot as a filmmaker doing that for 8 years background and stuff like that. So I understand the jobs and respect for everyone, and I'll be calling people to set when I need them on set. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, believe me, I can't count how many times I was sitting there being rushed to set and then sat there for an hour watching them light. But
yeah.
seriously, you needed this one guy in the back of the bar here right now for an hour for you to light way over there where the feature actor or the actors are going to stand. But such is life. Now, is this your aspirations, Lauren?
It is. Yeah, it is my dream that I'm working towards. So right now I'm just trying to build up, you know, my video reel and everything, get a lot of experience and just keep working towards that goal.
Yeah, I would just say be take whatever jobs you can get, but be selective in script. Make sure it's a good script, make sure it's a solid script, and that it's going to go, you know, get made and get out there. Would be the only criteria I would suggest as far as choosing stuff. Now, Brit, what is a okay, it's kind of hard. Usually I would ask what you're working on currently, but that's literally like the short film I just shot. And so then it's kind of a little bit wobbly of asking you how it was on the set that I was the director of. But what did you think of the material, and how did you think it came out, at least for the part you were here for?
Yeah, it was great. You know, I think just like you said to Lauren, I am pretty selective with the scripts and the writing that I'll go up for these days. So I really enjoyed the writing, and there was just something in the dynamic between mother and daughter that really, really spoke to me.
Yeah, you know, I've been sitting on that script for I wrote it like maybe 5 years ago, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was always as soon as I wrote it, it was one of those. I put in the 2 or 3 that I'm like, I got to shoot with these. You know what I mean? Shorts that I'd be like, okay, it's cool if I shoot it, but it's all right if I don't. And then like 2 or 3 that I'm like, at some point I got to shoot that because I just felt like it would be a powerful vehicle for whatever actresses did those roles. As far as showcase, you had to have chops to do those roles. You know what I mean? I mean, it's such a powerful scene. If you were not skilled actors, it wouldn't have come across. So,
well, thank you. We appreciate
although
it.
I have that propensity with most of my stuff, the way I write dialogue and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I always feel like, you know, with good writing, it actually doesn't take a lot of really good acting ability. The dialogue just speaks for itself and calls you into it.
It does, but I mean, I've heard this from a lot of actors. My writing is tough. My dialogue is tough. You have to have acting chops to pull it off correctly. Like, you know, there's some, because I don't write mundane. I put metaphors in there. I put poetic stuff in there, and you know what I mean. You have to have it come across sincerely and with power. It means you have to, as an actor, really commit to the role and be there. emotionally and in genuine moment. You know what I mean? For it to, otherwise it'll sound cheesy if you're not.
That's true. Yeah, I will say actually, when I was learning the lines, there was a moment where it felt so hopeless, the situation that I was in, and I felt so sad for my character that there was almost a reluctance to actually jump inside there, because she was just so. I mean, I can't even imagine. Am I allowed to give anything away about the short film?
Yeah, you can. No worries.
So I mean,
I posted the script.
Okay, good. I just can't imagine, being in that situation, dying and having no health insurance and having nobody to help you, So really, I think, it wasn't for me the writing or the dialogue. It was more the circumstances that I had to wrestle with. But once I wrestled with that, it was, really easy to jump into the patheticness of it.
Although I'm sure that there are many people in our country that have dealt with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Others that have health issues and
right. And for me as a foreigner, I think it was even more heart-wrenching, because I haven't come across people in those situations until I moved to America. So yeah,
because we don't have medical, so you have to take care of our poor people. You know what I mean? So something like that, if she had insurance and stuff like that, or universal health care or whatever, they were kicking her out and sending her home for her single daughter to try to not only survive and get a job and pay rent, but also have to take care of her dying mother by herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then again, it wouldn't have created
the drama
and the dynamics of a teen coming to terms with taking on that responsibility and tackling it and being as strong as the moon against the night.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Lauren, you were amazing.
Yeah, and she did brilliant afterwards too. I'm gonna have to clip some of those pauses though, but that performance was so great. I didn't want to do another take. Plus, I try to keep to my promises, and I had promised the whole crew we would be done in 6 hours. So we were like right on that time frame, and another take would have taken another probably half hour of time to be able to break through it. So try to, especially when I'm paying people way under their rates, and they're helping out anyway. I try to hold to what I promised them when I say stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's only 6 hours. We'll get it done in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Great performance, but Lauren didn't realize I was going to keep shooting all the way through the second half of her dialogue. So she kept pausing, waiting for me to say cut. But the performance, I usually, for the most part, if you noticed that night, I usually try to shoot all the way through the scene.
I was gonna try to stay in character and keep those emotions.
No, and then a lot of that was good. Yeah, the minute and a half, 2 minutes between dialogue, it'll just snipped out a little bit. But the looks, the pauses, the emotion you're going through. Yeah, you have a lot of both of you have a lot of talent, but Lauren, for your age, that those chops are way beyond what most can match. I think when you were getting the audition, we had you and one other person. Correct me, right, Mark?
Yep.
You and one other person had made it to that final cut. Brit was pretty much had the role because she was already. And the other girl, her resume, she had been like, her mother had pushed her into acting since she was, I don't know, 5 or something like that. You could tell she's all of her life acting. But the difference is you can tell she does 100 auditions and she doesn't really give a crap about any of them. And it was like, so both of her auditions, when we made you do a second one, you could see the skill there, but she was just doing a throwaway submission. There was no genuine emotion. I'm sure she would have brought it if she got the role, whatever it was, but that's not what directors want to see. You have to, no matter how many auditions you do, how much experience you have, you got to give everything you have to that role or don't even submit. You know what I mean? And you had that magical, when I gave you a few directions and asked you to submit a second one, you blew what she did away, because she did pretty much the same exact thing she did in the first one, where you jumped 10 levels. When I said you need to go down deeper and dig deeper, you gave me within a day and a half another audition tape that was like, you know, day and night. You were just boom, and you brought the set, so it was very beautiful. But Lauren, what were your experiences? Let's get back to the questions. Actually, what was your experience on that, and the writing and working with Brit?
I loved it. I love Brit. She made me feel so comfortable, and she's such a good actress. It was really challenging because putting yourself into that character's position is a really tough thing to do, and to try to stay, you know, in that frame of mind. I think that was really hard, but it was fun and everything along the way.
Yeah, and I really do think that we can get it right and get that R&B music that popped out of nowhere out, and the AC unit. Yeah, for you people, when you're dealing with indie film, and you're not just like renting a location where you own the location, and you know what I mean, you control everything. When you're shooting an apartment, you have other people's apartments. Literally for like 30 minutes, this guy was like trying to create beats next door at like volume 10 and playing this R&B stuff that was going right through the wall into my room where we're shooting. And I even went over and asked him, and he really had no interest in stopping. So we just had to keep going. And then hope by adding rain, some thunder, and some blues music in post, we'll be able to cover the not very interesting R&B thing he was doing. Now, definitely, I'm pretty good at lighting, but the lighting I did on you, Lauren, on that last shot that we didn't do last, but we shot your half. I think I put a still up of it, that half face close up. See, that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. I'm a big lighting fan. So when I can finally nail, and we were having, as unusual with Indy, we were having difficulty having the right lights. Like he didn't have directionals. He was putting like paper around the light to try to make it directional, which is not really, you know, if you had obviously endless budget, you would have like the correct lights that would be easier to light with. But I thought it looked amazing. I thought you looked amazing. I thought Brit, especially on a couple of the angles, the lighting helped her shallow dying look greatly. It made her even look more pasty and pale, and in that dying mode. But the crew did great. The whole crew was great. Rico, I used on Weak Spot, my last short that I did, and he's always a cool guy. But that's amazing. Okay, so Britt, let's get on to other stuff. What is some future projects?
So I'm working on a couple of at the moment. One thing is I'm working with a director out in LA just to get some stuff together for my new reel, given, you know, because I retired, so all my old stuff is outdated. So I'm doing that. And then my best friend from drama school in Australia has actually moved to LA. So she and I are working on our first short together.
Very cool. And then
amazing.
I'm assuming you'll fly out to LA for that as well.
Yeah. I have a bunch of, like, 7 of my close friends from Australia live there. So
I believe me, I was there for 8 years. I know quite a few
Australians.
There are a lot of Australians in LA trying to be actors.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Just to get off topic for a minute, I love going out there because nobody cares how I talk. Like, I don't have to walk around talking in an American accent in the stores.
Because you have every accent there.
Well, no, that's right. In LA, everybody's from everywhere, and that's not a novelty. But when I'm here in Texas, people always want to stop me and have a conversation about Australia, and I'm just like, I'm so sick of talking about Australia. I've been here for 7 years, you know. So yeah.
Well, I know, but you know, it's so funny. Like, I moved to Texas, and I thought finally I'll be in a place where people aren't going to always like raise their eyebrows when they hear my last name.
Right.
And because this is where the Glasscocks came from. There's a Glasscock County in Texas.
Yeah.
And yet none of that changed. I still, everyone just thinking it's a fake name and I'm some wannabe porn star. And I'm like, oh my lordy, people, like, what is wrong with you? Like, really? That's the fake name I'm going to come up with?
Yeah. So you feel my pain on the recurring conversations.
Yeah, believe me, I'm 48. I've had that name since birth. So really, yeah, I've really heard an entire lifetime's full of.
You're a very brave man. I think I would have changed my name if it was my name.
No, it works now as a filmmaker. To be honest with you, it's memorable and pretty. And before I'm done, you'll be saying it right next to like Tarantino and Rodriguez, and then you'll say the Glasscock.
Good deal. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll even have T-shirts. Viva la Glasscock. But anyway, okay. So Lauren, what is some of your future projects you got going on?
Right now, I'm just auditioning for things and seeing what kind of roles. I don't know. Right now, I'm just auditioning. I don't have anything set in stone yet.
Okay, so you're still just sending out auditions. It's hard. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's hard in the middle of LA when you're talking the indie world. When you're in the middle of LA, still 90% of the scripts I ever looked at were crap. Because I did acting when I was in LA, and I submitted to like LA casting and all that stuff to like indie films, and it's hard to find real skilled writers. I mean, I know several just because we tend to gravitate towards each other and I'm friends with them, but it's hard. And since I've been in Texas, and blessings to anyone that's trying to go for their dreams, I advocate that in all aspects, that people should aspire and go after whatever they want to do. But I've also seen like just an endless amount of like really bad B horror films since I've been here.
Oh my gosh, yes. If I have
to, thing.
Yes.
Huh?
If my husband and I have to sit through one more bad horror film at the Texas theater, I'm going to shoot myself.
No, that seems to be what everyone does here, because they probably can sell it for cheap, sell it quickly to like Asia. But it just seems to be like, and I don't do that kind of stuff. Like I don't write something specifically just to sell it, and I don't write badly, like write cheesy, whatever. But the problem is a lot of these guys are maybe filmmakers, but not really writers, but they want to write their own stuff. And a lot of people don't understand that writing is like any other skill set. It is a learned skill that takes years and years and years and years and years to become highly good at. Just like acting, just like musicians, but for some reason, anybody who picks up a final draft, copy of Final Draft, all of a sudden thinks that they're Scorsese when they write. And which is funny, because like if you took a guitar and someone like picked up a guitar, if they played it for a couple weeks, they wouldn't be going around saying they're a guitarist, because someone would literally right then and say, oh, play me something. And literally they would know like one chord badly and they would immediately like try to play, and someone would be like, no, my God, that was horrible. But for some reason, the same doesn't apply to writing. For some reason, they think that they can just write in format and write a script and it's all good. But Tarantino, all of those guys, they were writing for decades, a decade at least, before you were seeing their stuff. So it's a highly, so it's hard to find. But there are a lot of indie stuff out here, Lauren. So if you just keep pursuing, and if you still can't find anything, let me know. And as long as you can go find a crew, I'll write you something for them to shoot for you, okay?
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Now, Brit, what would be your ultimate future goal as far as your art? What would be a...
Okay, that's a really interesting question, because like I've been in this industry for most of my life now, and I think the dreams and the aspirations from when I was young don't apply now. Like for me, I'm just really happy producing art, producing work that's good, work that we love. And that was another reason why I came out of retirement, not to, you know, like go for the dream or become a star, but because it is a thing of beauty, this thing that we do. And so, yeah, I'm just happy to keep playing this game and making what we make and see my days out like that. So sorry for a bit of an anti-climax there, but
No, it's not. It's whatever makes you happy. Life is about happy. So whatever makes you content is a beautiful dream. It's not, unless you're saying me your beautiful dream is to like find a bunch of people to whip, then I might go, well, I don't know if that's a great dream or not. But but what you described is a beautiful dream. It makes you content. It makes you happy to create art. I'm always going to write, whether I find success or I don't find success. I've been writing for 30 years now. I might have started off as poetics and then music and then film, but I've always been creating since as far as I can remember. So I'm always, it's part of like, it's like breathing me or reading a book. I'm very uncomfortable if I don't have a book to read.
yeah.
It's always going to be until I'm no longer breathing what I do. Now, granted, I want success and I want those things just because my art would then be seen by way more. And I would love to have the ability to open doors for other people behind based on their skill sets and not like who their cousin is, who their uncle is, who their
talent, not their notoriety.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Their talent, not their notoriety.
Yeah, and because believe me, there are a crap ton of very talented people out there that are just not given an opportunity. And believe me, as we talked about, I was in LA for 8 years. I mean, literally, you'd be on $1 million shows and people in pivotal positions were hired because they were someone's nephew, even though they're not very good at what they do. And getting like 6-figure salaries.
But I think that there lies the problem behind capitalism, is that it's because those names can, you know, they do have the recognition and they do pull in the dollars, and Hollywood is in the business of making films and television. It's not necessarily in the art of making films and television. And I can't really fault them for that, because that's what the
It's funny though, because the things that have made usually the most money are ones that were brilliant art that they created. I mean, like
there's been a lot of
brilliantly made
art that hasn't made any money.
Huh?
There's been a lot of brilliant art that hasn't made any money, and a lot of bad movies that have made a lot of money.
Yeah, like Sharknado. I still don't understand that one, man.
I didn't see it. I can't comment.
Yeah, like literally that film, everyone turned it down. No one wanted anything to do with it. They went to Asia with it. It blew up in Asia. And then after blowing up in Asia, Sci-Fi Channel was like, oh, we want that, even though they had said no the first time it came at them. And literally, after 10 minutes of watching, I had to turn it off. It was such bad writing, bad acting, bad. And it's not like it was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, where it was literally written to be bad. It was literally, they were trying to write something, you know, maybe now it's written to be bad, but when that guy first tried to do it, it was written to be, you know, he was trying to make a interesting film of whatever, and it just was horrible. It was bad acting, bad writing, bad directing, bad CGI, bad. But it's blown up. What are they on, number like 28 now? Sharknado 28 or something like that?
Oh, God.
Yeah, like literally, I don't know how many they've made now, but
Save yourself the eyesight. It really is a bad film.
At the same time, I really want to advocate that I believe and support anybody pursuing their aspirations. I do have some issues when people are trying to cut corners or go back through back alleys, or you know, which you'll get a lot of in the film, especially in the film industry, people that with less skill, less talent, or are lazy and not want to work, that they're trying to do And see, this is the problem. This is why I want to help people. Okay, so people that are really auteurs and very skilled, especially if you're talking writers or directors, they're not very social. Not all of them, but I mean, a lot of them are not very social because all their focus has been on their art. They didn't learn those skill sets. They focused their energy on learning to be brilliant in their art. And the problem with a lot of people that are not very skilled is then they spend all their energy on social skills and schmoozing and all of those things to get them what they want, you know, whatever. But I think there's a lot of brilliant artists that just need someone to give them a lift. Now, there would be no Robert Rodriguez without Tarantino. There would be no, like Robert Rodriguez was nobody, couldn't get anywhere. He became friends with Tarantino, and Tarantino took El Mariachi and put it right in the front of the face of producers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and I believe in that, you know, and Tarantino has a big reputation for that. He has a big reputation for giving people shots. And, you know, Christoph Waltz was a really well-known theater actor in Germany, but that was all he had done for 20 years as a theater actor in Germany. He had not gained any kind of recognition. And his buddy was watching a play with Waltz in it, taped it, and sent it to Tarantino. And then Tarantino was like, oh, I got to have that guy for Inglourious Basterds, whatever. And then that guy blew up. But those are beautiful stories, and I would love to be, success would allow me to give those opportunities out, and that would be a beautiful thing. Now, Lauren, what would be your future? But again, Brit, I think that's a beautiful thing, that you're doing it because you just love doing it and it makes you happy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's a beautiful dream to have. Lauren, what would be a future ultimate goal for you?
There's so many. Well, first, just to better myself as an actor. I mean, 2 years ago, I was so different. My skills have definitely gone up, but I want to just continue to improve. I also think it'd be really cool to be in some independent films, or like maybe be in a Sundance film. That's one of my huge goals that I want to work on.
And you can always get better, Lauren. That never stops. If you're a real artist, there's no mastery. I mean, I'm pretty damn good at what I do, but the day I think I can't still get better is the day I need to stop doing it. So, I mean, that's a lifelong goal, and I hope you would understand that and keep going at that forever and ever and ever. And Brit's been acting forever. Is there ever a time where you don't think you can still learn stuff and become better, Brit?
No, and I think that's part of the addictive quality of acting, is that it's something you're always learning, and it is something that's so difficult that, you know, I feel like you don't ever really get there, except for maybe like Meryl Streep. I guess she's always been there. But it's just that,
or Anthony Hopkins, but yeah,
the challenge is never ending. The mountain, there's no top to the mountain.
I guarantee you, if you ask both those people, though, the reason they're brilliant is because they're always trying to get better.
Yeah.
Right.
That reminds me, in acting school in Australia, our teacher told us a story of Judi Dench, and how she would always, when she was in rehearsals, leave her handbag by the door, because it just lived as so real for her that she was going to fail. She needed to have her purse by the door so that when she failed, she could just run and grab it and leave the room.
Yeah, and the lady Judi Dench, yes. Yeah, what's like the female version of Knighted or something like that by
Judy?
Yeah, she's a dame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why can't we just call her Knight? Why do we have to have a different name, man?
Well,
yeah,
it goes based upon like old monarchy, sirs and dames, like lords and ladies.
Change it to kick ass, and that will work for women or men. They are ass Judi Dench, kick ass Anthony Hopkins.
It's a monarchy that still lives, that survived out of all of the world powers.
And they're not the only one, but they're the only.
Well, it's
non-third world country. Yes,
it's not even a monarchy anymore.
No, no, that's a republic or whatever you want to call it.
He's just the figurehead now.
Amazing. Okay, so your ultimate goal is to just continue doing what you do, Brit, and have art in itself be the goal, and enjoy life and work with your friends that you already talked about and create more art. And then Lauren, your goal is to just keep getting better and more skilled as an actress, and someday be in a film that goes to Sundance. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Not Cannes. Hey, Cannes, you're out, buddy. Sundance is her goal, man. Not Cannes, not France. Sundance, Utah. That's what she's going for.
And yeah.
Sundance is in Utah, right? I'm pretty sure it is.
No.
It's in Park City in Utah.
Yeah. Believe me, if I could make the same amount of money I do in my normal job, just shooting film, I would be happy, content.
Oh, honey, that's every artist everywhere.
Yeah. And I don't even make a lot of money in my normal job. So it's not even, but that's always the sacrifice for an artist, is you have to do that job that just kind of drains your spirit so that you can support and pursue the art.
Or just marry well. I married very well, so I don't need to drain my spirit too much.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. No, I just have Lola. Lola doesn't really bring any money in, right?
Oh, that face. Goodness.
Lola doesn't bring no money. But she makes me happy, a little cutie girl.
That is the face of $1,000 at least.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to say, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little 5-minute break, let our guests go to the bathroom, get a drink, whatever they want to do. And then we'll be back in 5 and we'll talk about life. Now, I'll give you the first question because it's the same question I ask every guest in the second part. What is the best film you've seen in the last 2 years and why?
That's easy.
Okay. And so we'll be back in 5. In 5, you are watching StormCrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. As always, dream and dream some more. Lola, we say 5. Lola, 5.
Lola! Oh.
Back in 5.
Can you just bring up about time on my IMDb?
Maybe we'll do a pocket control.
This is an image.
Pocket control.
Chief, come on.
Let's go. Let's go. There you go, boy.
Oh boy, Chief.
Come on. There's got food. Oh, you want to ask for it? Okay, as soon as Lauren gets back, we'll go back on.
Yeah, I'll do it later.
And hey, Lauren, there is a role in Blade and Blood called Jenny. It's only one scene, and it's Tobias's best friend, who's she's a street urchin who gets kidnapped by the Candyman and tortured. But his way of torturing is he makes people eat candy until they become malnourished and whatever. But if you're interested, let me know, and you can have that role.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
It's only one scene, but it's a powerful scene. So, and you basically die in it, but you're one of the reasons that forms Tobias and who he is. You were like his best friend or whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, okay, are we ready to back?
Yeah.
Are we back?
Yes, we're back.
Okay. Hey, welcome back, you guys. We're back. StormCrow, Dreamers talking to Dreamers with amazing guests. We asked a question before the break, and now we're going to get an answer. We'll start with Lauren this time. Lauren, what is the best film you've seen in the last couple years, and why?
Okay. I think so. I saw a movie. It's called Call Me by Your Name, and it was actually nominated for, I think, 1 or 2 Oscars, and I think it was 2 years ago. But the lead actor, Timothy Chalamet, he was one of the youngest, I guess, Oscar nominees since, I don't know, it was a long time ago. So he was one of the youngest actors to be nominated for a lead role.
How old is he? Because Dakota Fanning got a nomination, and she was pretty
I think maybe
supporting it.
it's maybe male lead actor. But
It's probably maybe lead, because I think Dakota got a nomination for best supporting actors, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, very cool. I have not. What is the thematic for it, or the theme of it? I don't remember the movie.
Well, it's basically a love story, and it's set in Italy, so it's a really beautiful film. But it's between two guys actually, so it was kind of like for that time, like a lot of people loved it, and it really was just kind of a groundbreaking film. I feel like too.
You mean because the leads, it was about a gay love? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
I can
And
imagine that being very popular thematic right now.
it is, and it's
And
really
Italian films, for some reason, are always beautiful. They have a lot of really talented cinematographers in Italy.
yeah. He and the director, Luke, I think his name is Luca Guadagnino. He's super talented, and the cinematography and everything, it's so beautiful.
I think it's just their culture, their nature. They're very artistic people by nature. So, and they were the capital of the originators of the art, Greece, Italy, that whole area has always been kind of synonymous with art and love of art. And
Yeah.
because I'm just saying, a lot of Italians, even if I don't like the film, a lot of Italian films I see are the cinematography is usually always beautiful.
It is.
Where like kind of England is known for really good actors.
Mm-hmm.
Because they care less in England, they care less about your looks and more about your chops.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch a lot of English films or English TV or whatever, unlike American TV, where literally almost every other person, if not more, are all model looking. In England, you'll see a lot of average Joes, kind of, but like all of them are really freaking talented actors. So, but yeah, each area I think has a kind of a film standpoint. It's like the Jewish people is what brought us noir way back when. In World War before like the 20s, 30s, they were coming after World War I think. They were the one that brought the whole noir lighting, which was their kind of noir. That was their style, that dark, bleak, which again I think has to do with their culture. But very, very beautiful. And then what about you, Brit? What's the best film you've seen in the last 2 years?
Definitely About Time. It's the kind of movie, it's a British film written and directed by Richard Curtis, came out in 2013, and it's just so rich and deep in story that I think I've watched it like 5 times already. And it's just, you know, a 2-hour long movie, but the journey that the characters go on and the depth of character development, it feels like you've watched a season of a TV show by the end of the movie.
It's so funny where now 2 hours has become kind of the standard, if not a little longer. And I remember 20 years ago, most films were like an hour and 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I remember watching feature films when I was younger, and it's like, that's why Dances with Wolves was considered such a freak, because it was like 3 hours long, and they're like, most films are an hour and a half, and what are you doing? Who's going to sit there for 3 hours? And now you constantly have films that are like 2.5 hours, even a few that are like 3. So very, very cool. I'm not very familiar with it. What's the theme of it?
Yeah, so it's Domhnall Gleeson and Rachel McAdams, and the story is Domhnall Gleeson's character has the ability to travel through time backwards. And it's passed on genetically through the males in his family. So at 21, his dad, who's played by Bill Nye, pulls him aside and says, okay, if we go into this closet underneath the stairs and close our eyes, we can go backwards in time. So the first part of the film is about him meeting the love of his life. So that's played by Rachel McAdams. And he's like a bit of a dork and a nerd. So he like will mess up asking a girl out. So then he'll use his powers to go back in time so he can ask her out in a much more polished way. And so they end up together. And then the thing with his power is if you have a child, you can't travel back to before the child was born, because anything that messes with the exact conception of that child gives you a different child. So there comes a point where his father dies, but he can still travel back in time to visit his father. He has 2 children. And then his wife wants to have another child. And so I guess that's really the conflict of the story, is him realizing that if he goes forth and has this child, he'll never be able to go back and visit his dad again. And it's just a beautifully told story, and beautiful.
It seems like a derivative of, I don't know if you ever watched it, but in the 80s, there was a made-for-TV movie with Christopher Reeves about time travel.
I didn't see it.
No? Do you know who Christopher Reeves is?
Yes.
Okay, so it was right after like Superman 1 or Superman 2 or something like that, where his popularity was insanely high.
Yeah.
And did that made for it was what TV used to do. They don't really do it anymore. They would have a 6-day special of like a movie that was like told in like 6 days or something like that. Or
Wow.
it was like the original V for Victory was like that. There was a movie with called Shogun that was like that, with Richard Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
And it made these actors. I mean, and it used to be people would just be goo goo gaga over these series. They were like made for TV series, and they would like limited. They would only be like 6 episodes or something like that. And it was like some epic tale. But you might want to check that one out if you like that one, because it's kind of similar, and it's
well, it's not really the theme that I like, it's the writing. And Richard Curtis is just such a talented writer that I don't think the Christopher Reeve movie from made for TV for the 1980s would have the same draw for me.
I think it was really well. I remember, I mean, I haven't watched it since probably that time, but I remember that it was a really beautiful film. But his thing was, if he wanted to stay, he goes back in time, he falls in love with this girl, they're totally in love. But the thing is he was not allowed, if he sees anything from where he's from, the future, he'll get yanked back into the future. And he doesn't realize that in like something like in the deep of his wallet, there's a penny from his time. Sees or finds, but all of a sudden, like after they got a kid, they're in love, all that stuff. Some reason it falls out and he sees it. And next thing you know, he's like ripped back into the future. But it was a great film. But anyway, okay, so now in life, what would you, let's talk in specifics in the film industry. In the film industry, what do you love most about the film industry, and what do you love least about the film industry? And we'll talk, start with you, Brit.
I think what I love most is people getting together and collaborating and working together to tell stories. And I think, unlike many art forms, film is a collaborative art. What I like least about it is it's still so male dominated. Most filmmakers are male, most directors are male. And I still feel there's a huge gap in terms of telling women's stories and hearing women's voices, not to mention the chauvinism and the sleaziness and the jerkiness, the behavior that I've put up with from men in the film industry over the years.
True. It's more pronounced in the film industry, but I think that's probably in a lot of industries. But whether high-end business, corporations, or whatever it is. And I agree with you. I think it should always be based on talent, whether it be man, woman. If they have the talent to do it, then they should be given the opportunities to do it. As far as writing, though, I think we talked about this on another show. I think this push to make filmmakers or writers, male or female, responsible for the moral fiber, morality of like the country is like ridiculous. I think like saying, oh, you can write this, you can't write that, you can tell that kind of story, you can't tell this kind of story, which seems to be happening a lot lately. Of like, oh wait, that story showed women as weak. Well, it was a story about medieval times. What did you?
It was an era piece.
It was like that was depiction of they accurately depicted how women were treated. They shouldn't tell anymore medieval time stories. Or I am all behind the Me Too movement, and also equality in filmmaking for men and females. I don't really think like that. I don't care whether someone's male or female. If I'm hiring people for crew or whatever, I care about who's good at what they do. But I certainly think it's getting pushed a little far. Our country likes going in extremes. You go one extreme, then go to the other side on the far extreme, then go to the other side of the far extreme. When usually middle ground is where a good amount of answers lie. But I agree with you, and hopefully we'll see more of that. I think I'm not familiar with her name, but the girl that directed Wonder Woman, I thought did a brilliant job, and she's been getting a lot of. It's one of the only DC films I thought has been really, really, really beautiful and amazing, and I think she's getting a lot more opportunities. And I think there's probably 100 behind her equally skilled that just need an opportunity. So, and then I watch NBA all the time, and you're seeing way more. They just hired, I think, 4 different women as either an executive or as assistant coaches. So I think that's a great improvement. I agree with you. Everybody should get, male or female, should get equal shots at doing what they dream about, and their gender should have nothing to do with it. It should be based purely on their ability to do the job. Now, Lauren, what would be your answer to that? I know you're kind of new to the industry, so it'd be kind of hard for you to judge, but so far in your experiences, what have you loved about the industry, and what have you loved least about the industry?
I agree with Brit about what I love mostly, like being able to share art that you've made and share stories that can touch people or inspire them or just make them feel some kind of emotion. Because I feel like I am a new actor, but I feel like being able to make somebody feel emotions through your character, or the way you portray your character you're playing, just being able to make somebody feel through the lines and then the story. I like that. And I think my least favorite thing would be probably how hard it is to get up there and get your work known, whether you're a director or an actor. Just going through the motions is probably the most challenging.
Well, and I think I think the internet is absolutely beautiful and helpful in that, and then also a giant hindrance in that. So like now that we have internet, everybody and their brother can throw films up. Problem is, a lot of them are not good films. So it's great in the sense that it gives so many people opportunities to get their art out there that otherwise would have never had those opportunities. So it's brilliant. It's bad in the sense that even if you're brilliant, it's hard to get seen because there's so much not brilliant drowning everybody's senses out. So even if you're the most brilliant person, trying to convince someone after they've just had 8 people watch something that was really bad to watch yours, and they have trepidation that it's going to be another bad one. So it's both. So I get it. But in the end, though, be thankful you're in this time period with internet, because I think it helps far more than it hurts. And it's giving people opportunities to be seen and get their art out there. And if there was no internet, there wouldn't be no Netflix, there wouldn't be any Amazon Prime, and all these ones that maybe they're not doing it quite as much right now, but 5 years ago, we're going to every festival you can think of, and actually just looking for good product, not who you knew, who you are, they just good product, and it gave a lot of people opportunities. Netflix especially, I think they gave, I can't even count how many films they got from no-namers or back films from no-namers that would have not happened like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Because back then the studio owned the entire thing. Studios owned the entire thing, and unless you had connection to the studio, you literally were never going to get a film scene or any of that stuff. So it's very beautiful. Now, what is you've been in U.S. for 8 years, is that what you said, Brit?
Yeah, 7.
7. And what, was it kind of a shocker at first to not have universal health care, to not have, like, to not see all the things that you took for granted in your own country?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I watched The West Wing when I was living in Australia, and I thought that, you know, Americans liking to dramatize things, I thought that they had dramatized the way that the Republicans were. But when I came over here, I realized that the Republicans were a whole lot worse than what the West Wing had made them out to be. I was actually a right-wing voter in Australia, and when I came here and heard what, you know, the right wing here is trying to say about if we had proper gun laws here and if we had healthcare, it's just, you know, such,
yeah, it's just, it make us communists.
And yeah, well, it's such lies because, you know, I come
Yeah,
from,
but to be honest, the Democrats and Republicans both, many of them are corporate owned. The only difference is which corporation owns them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I disagree.
I'm a liberal. I agree, but I don't. Most Democrats I don't like either, because most of them are corporate shills. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I just don't think that you can say that about as many people in the Democratic Party, but we can agree to disagree on that. But anyway, so you were asking me about the shock of coming here. So yeah, it's really difficult when I'm having conversations with Republicans, because I come from a country where we did change our gun laws, and, you know, it ended our gun massacres, where we do have universal health care and people don't have to die unassisted at home. And yeah, it is. But having said all of that, though, I really, really, really love America. I love this country. I love the people here. And were I to choose again today, I would choose being here.
yeah, and it provides a lot more probably opportunities for what you love to do. I would assume. I don't know very much about the Australian film industry, but I'm assuming there's probably, just as far as numbers, more opportunities.
Yes, definitely.
Here.
More, even to the point of, you know, more commercials, and like a lot of successful high level actors in Australia, you know, way better than me. People who have been the leads in multiple television series and in films will have to work, you know, like as laborers on building sites, or they have to have jobs in between, because even if they're at the top of their industry in Australia, it still isn't enough to sustain a lifestyle.
Oh, what? They don't get paid very much, even like stars?
No, I mean, well, a friend of mine, she was the lead in a couple of series in Australia, and she would work in the off season because, you know, I guess you're only getting paid for 6 months a year, and that, you know, she wasn't able to get ahead if she didn't work when they weren't shooting.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, the actors here, if you're in a TV series, you're making enough money in that 6 months to take the other 6 months off. I mean, rarely do they do that because they're trying to promote their thing, but they don't do a normal job. They go try to get roles in some other film or feature film or
Right.
whatever it is. But yeah, and then I'm assuming just the multitude of opportunities, because how much film they are constantly shooting.
Yeah.
And then Lauren, let's think of a question for you. What have you always been in Texas? Have you lived anywhere else?
I have. I've always been in Texas.
You've always been in Texas? How come you don't have an accent then?
I don't know. I guess I've just kind of been in the Dallas area, and I feel like.
And Dallas for like decades has been like the mash pot of people from all over the place.
Yeah. So I guess that's
My father is from Odessa, And so I was raised in Southern Cal, but I remember as a kid every summer having to go visit my father's side of the family in Odessa, Midlands. And literally every person there, go to a restaurant, go to a grocery store, every person there is like, hey, how are you? Blah, 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 blah.
How's your family?
Yeah.
Well,
Even
even
my father, and he hadn't lived in Texas in decades. I remember when I was a kid and he was pissed at me. He's like, Jonathan Dean, get your ass in here. So I was shocked when I first moved here 3 years ago to Dallas, and I almost rarely heard any Texas accent. And I was like,
that's the true Texan right there.
the only ones you did hear were from like ranchers, and you can tell because they're wearing a cowboy hat when they walk in, and they.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I live in downtown Fort Worth, and everybody here has a very broad Texas accent. It's actually messing with my standard American accent. So when I'm working in an American accent, I'm starting to sound Texan now, which is kind of.
Oh, you mean in Fort Worth? I haven't really been to Fort Worth very much.
Yeah.
It's kids from all over because of college. So UNT is a big college. So we have people from all over. So I don't rarely ever hear anybody with an accent.
Well, you got a lot of cowboy bars over in Fort Worth. A lot of cowboy bars.
Oh, cowboy bars. Sorry, I thought you said tap bars. Yeah.
The only one we have would be Cowboys Red River over for Technology Street in Dallas. That's the only one we got.
Yeah.
Louisville has quite a few of them.
Oh, I haven't been in Louisville in years.
Yeah, isn't Louisville, is that near Colleyville, where it's like the suburbs and then there are these farms? Am I thinking of the right place?
No, Louisville is right on the 35 on your way to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Right where that lake is, right past the lake.
Lake Louisville.
Louisville Lake, yeah, it's right there. And believe me, I tried to. I went there a few times, and I never wanted to go back. Believe me. But yeah, it's few far between that I have here an accent. But I haven't been to Fort Worth very many times either. Mm-hmm. And then what was I going to say? So Lauren, my goal here is hopefully we'll have my goal will be attained, and we'll have more opportunities for you all and everyone else here. Is I want to do in North Texas what Rodriguez did in South Texas, which is create a film that blows up. If that film blows up, then continue to shoot here, and then eventually try to build like a studio. And other filmmakers here an opportunity, because that's pretty much how a scene gets created. It's how Atlanta got created. You had Tyler Perry shot several of his films there, then shot all of his films there, then created a studio. Then Walking Dead went there, and then all of a sudden, like, it had a film in it. You know what I mean? And the same thing in Austin. Austin was not known for film at all. It was known for music, South by Southwest. But it was when Rodriguez went there to build El Rey Studios and El Rey Network and started shooting a ton of his films there that all of a sudden it's now becoming a actual film.
Paris, there's an article that came out that there's a studio that's going to be opening up in November. 35,000 square foot building that will be blowing up Paris.
In Paris?
Paris, Texas?
Yep.
You know that only people that sound French can live there, right?
Oui. That's all I know.
Yep, they go, as soon as you enter town, they're like, let's hear your French accent.
Well, Alex is actually from Paris.
Oh, and she moved away and she lost her whole French accent?
No, I don't think she has. Do you have a French accent?
I'm Texan.
But yeah.
You know what I want? I want a little French assistant named Pierre who wears a beret and follows me around with a parasol.
But
that would be awesome. People try to talk to him. I'm like, don't talk to Pierre. He just holds the parasol. Don't talk to him. You're going to ruin his concentration.
But no,
I worked on several times. I worked on Parks and Rec many times, actually. Like probably 15 times, 20 times. I worked on Parks and Rec, and one time we were shooting in location. It was a normal Southern California summer day. It was like probably 90 degrees, whatever. There was one PA, and their only job, it was like a 14-hour day. Their only job all effing day was to hold this big umbrella above Amy Poehler's head. In between shots. That's all they did, like all day long. And you got to understand, like PAs don't get paid much. They get paid like $125 for 12 hours. You know what I mean? And literally, like this guy all day long just sat there with an umbrella above Amy Poehler's head, man. I'm like going, what a job, dude. Literally, is that what they sold you with when they said you could be a production assistant on a TV show? We're gonna have you. You're gonna be the umbrella holder. You're just gonna hold an umbrella for 12 hours above someone's head. Oh my lordy, man!
wow.
It reminded me though how probably tough it is for. I never understood how the sound guys do it. The boom mics. They literally like for 12-hour days, 14-hour days holding. If you've ever held one of those boom mics, they're
Yeah, because you're like,
you know what I mean, like and holding it like that. For like literally 12 hours. I mean, like,
man, that's a shoulder workout right there.
I don't know, but everyone has their different aspirations, their different dreams, man. And so that's amazing. What would you say now? Lauren probably doesn't have a ton of experience on this. So I mean, wait, is Lauren my short film? Is that the first film you've done?
First short film, yes.
Well, not background. Now we're not talking background. You did background film. But is this your first real acting role?
It is. It was.
Well, wow. I mean, that's kind of hard to imagine for how good you were. Did you maybe do stage theater? Is that what you did, or?
No, actually, I've just taken lessons with my acting coach every week or maybe multiple times a week. But I've really just been trying to audition and get some work. But that's the first thing I've ever done, and I just wanted to work really hard at it. So
well, and you have one thing that even like many grown-ass people do not have. You have self-awareness. And self-awareness and self-truth are the keys to talent. So, which is why when I gave you very simple directions after your first audition, you immediately applied all of those.
Taking the note.
I mean, so that takes self-awareness because a lot of people would have instead got defensive, got like not done anything to change anything because they would have said, "Who's he? My acting is great." Blah blah blah. But that's the difference between decent and great. People that reach great and highly talented are ones that are always open to listening to truth wherever it's coming from, and always willing to look at themselves and go, hey, you know what? I could improve there. Hey, you know what? Let me try it that way and see if there's something there. And you have that. And there are 80-year-olds that don't have that. You know what I mean? So just keep that and keep pursuing. And you just get better and better and better, which is shocking because you're already pretty damn good. But I remember those original directions I gave you though, because I apply that to every role. Any role you do, dig deep. Feel if that person's crying, you have to be there. You have to be in that emotion. If that person's happy, you have to be there, and you have to be in that world and that emotion. It can't be faked because that's the big difference between bad acting and good acting. Is bad acting, they're just reciting lines and pantomiming the emotion.
I agree.
Great actors like Brit would be a great person to give you probably lessons in that. Is they have to be there. They have to be that character, be themselves in that place. Like how would you really feel in that place and find that emotion? So I think you're going to do great and awesome in whatever you're.
I'll also give you a tip too. listening to your other, and try to attack them with the
What are you
script.
listening to the other? Is this like some guardian angel you're talking about? Man?
No. Listening to your other, and attack them when necessary, because that's when you get into great acting, because your natural emotion will come out.
Are you trying to apply like lightsaber fighting techniques?
No. I'm applying acting techniques. Listening to your other.
Yeah, I get the listening to the other, but what's the attack?
Okay, that's how it was taught in school. Like attacking the other, or you're attacking to get an emotion that you want. It's an acting
I think
choice.
you're using it like in the same context as if you were saying striving, like basically grapple your other until you garner the reality of it, the realness of it, or whatever. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, sort of. Attacking to get what you want. Be selfish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Attack them to get what you want out of them.
Okay, got it.
I still think you're talking about some
not lightsabers, no.
Dual fighting technique you learned in your lightsaber class. I
didn't have one. It's a natural gift.
Until he breaks furniture with the lightsaber. Is Alex not there to pipe in?
Oh, she's right over there.
Yeah.
I think she piped in, but he froze.
Yeah, he's ixnayed from pulling out lightsaber inside now.
Oh my god, yeah. He has a lightsaber attached to his hand. Dude, you're ET.
I mean, I'm even wearing Darth Vader.
Yeah, you always wear some Star Wars something.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember that episode when you're wearing that Princess Leia pink tutu?
What?
Oh, wait, you don't remember when you were wearing the Princess Leia pink tutu?
Nope, I don't remember that one.
And I love that frozen image of your face right there is just fitting perfectly with that statement. Okay, you guys, so what I'm going to do is what I always do at the end. It's been an amazing night. It's been beautiful talking to you guys and conversing with you. What I'd like you to do is we're going to take you one at a time. You're going to look at the camera and you're going to give advice to someone who is aspiring to what you want to do. Okay? Now, Lauren, I know your experience is a little bit low, but I guarantee you have, where you are acting skill, I guarantee you have good advice for someone that's trying to aspire to be an actor. So we'll start with Brit and end with Lauren.
I think always try and be humble. It's very easy in this country and in this industry to really be quite self-aggrandizing. In fact, I think the industry kind of pulls for it. But I think it's important to go the distance and do the work, do the inner work of what it takes to actually be authentically there and in the moment. And certainly I've discovered over my career that it is actually a lot harder to do that than one would first think. So yeah, stay humble, stay hungry, keep learning and keep striving. And I think the real, like the career as such is happening whether or not you're working in TV or major feature films. The career and the art is what we are doing day in and day out. It doesn't just suddenly happen one day if you get discovered or you become famous. That's it.
No, and what do they say? That that overnight success took decades?
Yeah.
Yeah. A great example was what I would use before, Christoph Waltz. He came in on Glorious Bastards, won like the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, and everyone's like, oh my God, where did this guy come from? He's so amazing. He's so this, he's so that. His first film, but he had been a theater actor for 25 years and an award-winning theater actor in Germany for 25, 30 years. So all they were seeing for the first time was 30 years of hard work.
That's right, yeah. Oh, and then also, I think I hear this a lot from people in Hollywood. You know, there will be, like Jennifer Lawrence, she won her first Oscar for Best Actress when she was 22, but she had been in that town her whole life. She had been in that industry her whole life. So what you saw to get that award was her 16 or so years of hard work.
True, yeah. And then, and it's the only reason why even my first films was lucky enough and blessed enough to win some awards. It's because they saw I'd already been writing for 15 years.
Right.
I got to film. And it's the same thing. And I give anyone that wants to be an artist, that same advice, is that it's a lifelong commitment on a daily basis of pursuing that. So I agree. Lauren, what about you? What would your advice be to someone who is aspiring as an actor?
I would say just always work hard and challenge yourself and keep practicing every day what you do, because there's so many other people that want to do the same thing as you. And as long as you put your heart in it and you just keep challenging yourself, I think you'll go a long way. Mm-hmm. And also, I was going to say there's this quote and it goes, I think it's your only competition is yourself, because so often for me, like I compare myself to, oh, I think this actor's better, or I think they do it this way, but I always just want to challenge myself and see how much better I can get at certain roles or characters, or being able to get emotions to come out. So I think just challenge yourself and always work hard.
True. I used to do that when I was first beginning writing. I'd take like a Shakespeare sonnet and try to attempt what that guy, brilliantly as he was, tried to do. Or so it's the same thing. Challenge yourself to things that you may normally not be able to do. I even made myself write a country song once, and I can't stand country. just to challenge myself and see if I could actually write one. But anyway, I agree with you. You guys, it's been a beautiful night. We've had Mark Potter. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. Normally, we have him do his acrobatic double flip lightsaber swing to end the show, but right now we don't have the time to do that. Plus, last time he pulled his groin muscle, so it's probably not a good thing either. But we have Lola, who's always here in support of all the artists that come in here. As long as they're
such a natural.
And then we've had brilliant artists in Lauren and Brit. The short film, The Moon Against the Night, that they both did an amazing job, and will be out in a couple of weeks. So then I'll be posting on YouTube, and you're going to be able to see it. They have faith that they're going to keep doing brilliant things and follow whatever they do and support whatever they do. They're both amazing, beautiful spirits and beautiful women, and they will accomplish whatever their aspirations have them climb to. I want to thank you all for watching and supporting the show. In another 2 weeks, I'm going to take next week off. We're back for the first time in like a month and a half. I get it. We've been gone a while. But we still have more Blade and Blood stuff to kind of casting to finish. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. So if you want to be on the show, you're a writer, musician, filmmaker, actor, any of those things, message me or message Mark, and we'll see what we can do to get you on. And anyway, I want to thank you for watching StormCrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. Thank you to my guests. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to Lola. Keep dreaming, always dreaming, never stop dreaming. Blessings, beautiful. Love you.
Have a good day. Well, good night.